positive, so they made him leave.
Don't leave you on trespassing.
They refused. They refused to give his heart medication. He went to the hospital and he died in the hospital. So we have a case right now, civil, that's pending against.
All right, let's just leave. Let's go. You're gonna have to organize it through another way.
You're sworn to uphold the laws of the land, correct? The United States Constitution?
Yes, we are.
And the laws of the land, federal
Yes,
civil
sir.
rights, right? And you can enforce them because you are law enforcement officers.
Right.
So you do have the authority, the power, and the right to escort this lady over there, and they will listen to you because you are the law. You can say, excuse me, ma'am, under federal civil rights, you cannot mandate this woman to have anything. Her father's belongings are here. She has the key in her hand. She has the right to access this place of public accommodation. I am here to assist her lawfully.
You're absolutely 100% right.
So, Michael and ma'am, what was your name again?
Come on, Laura, let's go.
Okay, so Laura and Michael, you are not.
We have nothing to say to you. We have nothing to
Okay,
hear
you
from
guys
you.
aren't
We have
allowed
nothing to
access.
hear or say whatsoever. We are actually here looking for legal assistance and law enforcement to facilitate us with our lawful rights. And actually, come here with me, Laura. I would like the name of the officers that are here. What is your name
Officer Process,
and your badge number?
4740,
And you work for where? Who?
Melbourne Police Department.
And yours? What is your name? You can't speak?
You wouldn't let us talk to you, sir.
I don't want you to speak to me, but I have the right to ask you for your name and your badge number. What's your badge number? What's your badge number? What is your badge number, Officer Reimer? What's your badge number? I'm asking Officer Reimer for her badge number. She's refusing to provide it. You will answer for your coercion, intimidation, and failure to uphold our rights under law. Yeah.
They're laughing.
They're laughing. Incredible. Now here's a woman whose dad was in a living facility who they claimed had COVID because they did the bogus PCR test, probably deliberately ran the cycles enough to make it positive, and then said he had to leave because of it. And then you came to pick him up. I might be wrong on some details, and that's why I want you to give your story. But I just said that you went there and they refused to let you go back in to get your dad's heart medication. His heart medication was in there, and because you personally do not cover your vital airways with a face diaper, and you don't take, bogus PCR tests like me and many other people, and you don't have to, they refused to let you back in even to get your dad's heart medication, which you said he needs his heart medication. They wouldn't let your dad or you back in to get his heart medication.
Right.
And then you took your dad to the hospital.
And they wouldn't bring it to us.
And would bring it to you. And then they took you to the hospital. You took him to the hospital, and they started giving him remdesivir, which renders death on people because it creates pulmonary edema. And sure enough, they crashed your dad, put a ventilator in him, and they killed your father in the hospital.
Well, it's in Melbourne.
And the reason we called for police assistance is because we were going to just go, which we can, and we will. We'll just go. We'll walk in, and if they say anything, we're just going to ignore them. So we have to keep their one. It's more than likely they're going to call the police. So we wanted to give you that.
Yeah.
And if they call the police, that's why we were calling for the sheriff, because of the difference between sheriff and constitutional law versus policing. It's kind of the same, but different in some ways.
What I'm gonna do? Are we going over there right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll follow you, and I'm gonna just call the supervisor, just let them know what's going on.
It looks like this guy's elected to help. If he doesn't, this backfired on us calling the police. You called the sheriff or the police.
I didn't.
So if anything, we'll see how it goes here.
I
and
can
then,
still call Shannon
right, no,
back.
and then we'll do that. So we'll just head over there now, and
Okay.
I'll,
All right.
he looks like he's explaining it to the supervisor too.
Okay.
So she called the police and sheriff, and the police showed up instead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just go right to the room. Where is it?
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, hi. How you doing? Oh, no, we're just going to get our stuff.
What stuff that we left in the room? What stuff?
From our room.
He'll explain. Wait a minute, you can't come in. Hold
Okay,
on.
hold on.
No, no, go.
Come out here.
Go to the room.
No, I'm telling you not to go. Hang out right there. Hang out for a
Come
second.
on back here.
There we go. There's the problem.
What's going on? Hold on.
Yeah,
Wait, they can't go in, they cannot go in.
I know. I told them to hang out and wait for me. Let me, so, this is the deal. Her father's, or should I wait? No. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah. Backfired on us. Backfired.
Maybe he'll work it out.
He might, yeah.
You still wouldn't have been able to get all your stuff out because they would have.
No, it would take days.
Right.
So it's got to be worked out ahead of time.
That's true,
That's
yeah.
why I kept telling him that. We need an understanding.
Right.
Well, now we're up to you working your magic.
Can we step outside, please? In the vestibule part?
Yeah, we'll go there and talk.
Please, because I have these COVID rules, so if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Lock the doors for the police. Both of them, just lock them both to help the police out.
Miss Nancy, her father stayed here. He recently passed. She still has his belongings inside. I think, have you guys spoken to
What
her?
are they doing, how'd they get inside the building?
They just came in.
I don't know, we just walked in. I
Okay.
don't know.
They need to step outside.
We just don't have
And
masks on.
I already
Anybody.
had
It's really unsafe.
conversations with them
Okay.
about getting a COVID test, which
Okay.
we give, which we'll do
Okay.
now,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can be escorted up to do whatever they wanna do. They
Do
just
you
don't
wanna
come
do
in
that?
the way that.
We don't do COVID tests.
Well, then you can't come in the building.
Yes, we can.
No, you can't.
We can.
Cannot.
So if you want,
Our policy and procedure is
no, I
that
know.
they do a rapid COVID test, which we're happy to give to
and they
them.
don't want to do that.
Takes 5 minutes, well, then they can't come in and
Is
go
there
upstairs.
is there a way that we can have staff pack?
Sure,
this stuff
I
and
can
bring it
call a moving
outside?
company and have it packed and bring it outside.
Okay. When can you do that?
As soon as I call a moving company, I can get
Okay.
it
Do
put
you
in a
wanna-
pod too.
Do you want to organize it that way?
I can organize the moving company. I
Yeah.
have a moving company.
Do you want to go through her moving company?
Whatever she wants to do,
Okay,
she has a
we can do
moving
that.
company.
Just so we can avoid all this. You don't have to get the test. They don't have to
Well,
trust
and
us.
they
You
really
don't have to
just
get
Well,
That's
and-
a legal thing.
Yeah, and for the record, this is for the record, her father stayed here.
Okay.
They ran a bogus PCR test claiming he was positive, so they made him
They
leave.
don't leave you want to trust us.
They refused. They refused to give his heart medication. He went to the hospital and he died in the hospital. So we have a case right now, civil, that's pending against.
You want to trust us? Okay. All right, let's just leave. Let's go. You're gonna have to organize it through another way.
Okay, but on film, I'm making it official that I'm providing them with notice.
Can you open that? So we
Okay,
can-
this is a place of public accommodation under federal law, 42 USC, 28 CFR. You do not have the right under federal civil rights laws to deny this woman access. You've done so, it's been documented, and you'll be receiving lawsuit notification. All right, so now it becomes, let's call the sheriff though, because again,
I don't wanna go there, it's not fun.
all right, we'll go to the sheriff. We're going to go to the sheriff's office. Let's go. So at this point, we're going to go to the
I tried to call them twice, and it
Right.
didn't go through.
right. So we're going to go to the sheriff's office and at least put the sheriff's office on record concerning the law and see what their position is about coming over and enforcing the law.
And the other thing is, you can get the moving company and they can schedule it, but that's giving in to the tyranny of.
That's right. Not only that, she's got that's a private matter. That's her father's private property.
Right.
She should be the one to be able to go in and handle it.
So it's on Sarno. We'll probably just go back the way we came.
Yeah, I'm going to follow you over to the sheriff's office.
Sounds good.
Now we're putting the laws to the test, Sheriff Mack. Sheriff Richard Mack, now we're putting the law to the test. We're at the sheriff's office. And sheriffs are sworn to uphold all the laws of the land. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, hi.
We have an urgent emergency need to see the sheriff.
If you can't get the out of the building, quickly assess your options. Find a place to barricade.
They sent a police officer who didn't know how to help us at all.
He didn't know how to handle it at all. He totally flunked it up.
Well, that's actually Melbourne's jurisdiction.
Turn out the
It's actually
lights.
not us.
Well, actually, the sheriff has the jurisdiction over the entire county, especially with regards to law. You guys are sworn to uphold constitutional law, right?
But they don't.
It's specifically Melbourne's jurisdiction.
Right. It's typically Melbourne's jurisdiction.
Typically.
Right.
If you have a
So
concealed
if you
carry
guys want to
permit,
hang tight,
then
maybe
it
I'll
allows
get
you to carry your gun. Then by all
Yeah,
means, you should
and
have your
you
gun.
know,
Be prepared to defend.
I mean, if we can't depend on our sheriffs, we're in trouble, right?
Did they not let you in at all, or what was the outcome?
You're not
nothing.
Melbourne officer?
He said, what does the business require? That's what the business requires, that's what goes. With no recognition that it's a public accommodation, no. I mean, it's gonna take a couple days of packing, but they wouldn't even let me go in once to pick up vital things like his will. I mean, there's things that the whole family needs, like immediately.
If your life is at risk, whether you're alone or
What?
working together as a group,
My father and my uncle used to be sheriff, and that's why I came here too. I thought it'd get some help here.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to figure out the issue.
But primarily, it doesn't matter that it's in the city. This is whose oath is to what, and your oath is to upholding constitutional rights. But the police don't. They don't care.
Found your
Right,
weapon.
we'll sort that out. A Melbourne officer already talked to you, and he said he can give you access.
He was
He
a
went
he was
with
a
us,
flunky. He
and
was a
just-
flunky.
He just totally
He-
did nothing.
Yeah, a
He
complete
said, "Sorry,
flunky.
you can't get in."
So I'm not related, but we're
Not
very good
related.
friends. So I kind of stepped up because she's going through a hard time right now. I mean, her dad died, and if you knew the details behind that, it's a heartbreaking story, to be honest with you. So they're intimidating her, which is a violation of law. They are intimidating her. I'm well versed on the laws, and that's why I stepped up to help her.
If you guys want to wait here, or if you want to wait in your car, it's up to you. We got other people to deal with, and I'll send somebody else.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. It pains me to know what you're going through, right? To know that it's disgraceful that these people don't have the compassion and the decency, right? And while you're with me, because I know I told you where you could print this out, okay?
Yep.
And this is just for the benefit of the record, okay? While we're at the sheriff's office, this is what we're going to be giving the sheriff. We're going to be giving the sheriff a printout of Governor Ron DeSantis's order, the governor's order indicating there are no COVID restrictions in Florida. We're also going to be giving the sheriff a printout that references the laws, and I'm just reading this for the record, okay, while we're here at the sheriff's office. For the record, anybody, whether it's me, whether it's Laura, whether it's any other human being who for religious reasons or for health reasons, which may be psycho-emotional, mental, physical, genetic, they do not have to disclose what that is under the law. They are protected by the law. So if they do not choose to cover their vital airways with a face diaper, if they do not choose to get a bogus PCR test, if they do not choose to get a vaccine, they have that right and the laws protect them. The facility we went to has been classified, designated, and defined by federal law as a place of public accommodation. And per 42 USC, in accordance with the federal non-discrimination mandate, we have the legal and lawful right to enter inside of that facility in order to carry on with our business unhindered, unimpeded, and unmolested. And we have the right to receive the full and equal enjoyment of the goods, the services, the facilities, the privileges, the advantages, and the accommodations therein. 42 USC specifically states under 12203 section B, interference, coercion, or intimidation, it shall be unlawful to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any individual in the exercise or enjoyment of their rights. Here's a woman who lost her father, and I would say the words interference and coercion and intimidation absolutely apply to this woman. Okay, here's the paper that clearly states what places of public accommodation are. And I have highlighted at the top: a professional office or health care provider or hospital or other service establishment. That is a service establishment. Is it health related as well? They have nurses there?
Yes,
They have a nursing staff?
they have a few.
Okay. Was there anybody there? Was your father under any medical supervision himself there at any time?
No, only by his doctors elsewhere.
Right. But there at the facility, they do have nursing staff.
Right, they put meds together and
They put meds
check
together.
on patients.
So it's clearly a professional office of a healthcare provider or hospital or other service establishment. And they are providing a service.
Right.
And you're paying.
Yeah,
Your
we
father
pay-
was paying. You're paying money for him to be there. So this woman, Laura, simply wanted to go in after her father has died to be the person, the one who has the first right to go in to see her father's belongings and to take her father's belongings into her care and custody. Not to have some crew, some group of a moving company who's going to go in there and just schlep things into boxes and throw them into a moving truck. This woman has the right, and it's a total disgrace that this institution did not honor her situation. I'm going to pause this for now. Do you want to say anything, Laura?
Sure.
Go ahead.
When I called the elder care ombudsman for the state of Florida, he said what the facility needs to understand is that your father's things are now your things.
Okay, yes, that's important to understand.
Literally. My father's things are
Say-
now my things.
there's other people talking, so let me wait for them to finish and then we'll record that again.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? Easy. Arms broken.
Sorry.
It's all good.
We really need to speak to the sheriff. We really
Okay,
do.
all right, well, nobody just walks in and speaks to the sheriff directly. I did call my sergeant,
Right.
so he is going to be contacting Melbourne right now just to speak with them and see what the situation is that's going on and see if we can't work it out. So he's gonna call me back and I'll just keep you updated, but I just wanted to let you know what was going on so you're not sitting out in the lobby not knowing.
No, I appreciate that. You can't contact the sheriff?
I cannot, no,
You can't contact the
I
sheriff.
cannot, no.
Nobody in the sheriff's office can contact them.
We can go send it up and eventually he'll get the message, but at this very moment, I can't just pick up the phone and call the sheriff. So. but we are
Well,
trying to
we're
work it out,
respectful.
so.
Look, and look, we respect you, and I don't want to give you, like,
I don't feel like you're being
right,
disrespectful.
right.
Okay.
We feel very strongly that we have the right as citizens to our elected public officials on all levels, and especially our sheriff, who is the highest authority in this county.
Right.
You know that, right?
I understand.
Do you recognize that the sheriff is the highest authority?
I understand.
That he doesn't answer to a mayor?
I do.
He doesn't answer to a city commissioner?
Correct.
He doesn't
So-
answer to the governor? We need that man because this woman's father died in a place of public accommodation, and contrary to the governor's order and contrary to 42 USC, US code, and federal civil rights, they're violating her access. If I was the sheriff, can you hold this and look at me just for a second with the camera? Okay. See, if I was the sheriff,
What's your name, by the way?
my name's Michael.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll just help you. Like I said, this arm's broken, but.
My name's Michael, and if I was the sheriff, and with all due respect to the sheriff here, and the sheriff here is who?
You don't know the
Ivy.
sheriff?
I don't know the name of the
Ivy.
sheriff.
Wayne Ivy.
But
Do you live in
reason-
the county?
The reason I know, I live in Miami-Dade.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason I don't is because I actually send out emails almost every week to every single sheriff in the state of Florida, because I'm working on these legal issues on behalf of everybody in the state of Florida.
That's awesome.
And on behalf of everybody around the country,
Right.
because people are under attack right now, and their rights are being violated, literally. So I'm on top of the laws. I know the laws. I stand for my rights, and I'll stand up with friends, and I'll stand up with strangers for their rights. So if I was the sheriff, and this message is for all the sheriffs, I mean, I would simply say, "Excuse me, ma'am, they're not. Your father just passed away, and they're refusing you access to be the first person to go into that room and retrieve your father's belongings. Is that what you're telling me, ma'am? Follow me over, please." And I'd go as a sheriff, and I'd just go right and say, "No. Look, I'm the law enforcement officer. You're violating law. You can't do that. This lady's going into her room where her father passed away, and she's going to retrieve his belongings. You understand me?" And they're going to listen because I'm the sheriff. That's what every sheriff should do. That's what I would do if I was the sheriff. So if that's what I would do if I was a sheriff, I can't understand how any other sheriff wouldn't do that unless they are cowardly. They're unlawful. And I'm not saying this sheriff is cowardly. I'm not saying any sheriff is cowardly, but I'm saying if they won't do that, they're cowardly.
Okay.
If they wouldn't do that, they're cowardly. They need to stand up for the
Mike,
citizens' rights.
Do you mind if I just kind of interject there?
Go ahead, brother.
So, like I said, I don't know what went on. I wasn't there. We don't know what went on, okay? I just sent her over there because that's Melbourne's jurisdiction, so they sent an officer. So that's why we're trying to get to the bottom of it to sort out what happened and what we can do to help.
Right, and I
So
can
it's
tell you
just
what
like
happened.
that.
A
Okay.
police officer showed up and met us at the gas station, which we were disappointed with because we were expecting the sheriff.
We're gonna have somebody go out there and deal with this.
And that
issue.
police officer, but I'm telling you, because I
understand.
watched it, the police officer got in his car after we tried to explain him the situation, and he got on the phone with his supervisor. And his supervisor, he told us, said, well, you know, if the business, you know, doesn't want you in there, that's their policy, so, you know, that they can trespass you. I'm like, what do you mean trespass? You don't trespass somebody in a place of public accommodation. I don't go in a grocery store because they don't like the way I look. They can just trespass me willy-nilly. You can't do that. You need a reason, right? A person needs to be engaged in some form of mischief, right? There needs to be a basis. We can't just say, particularly based on 5 criteria that are covered by federal civil rights. If it's any 5 of those, you can't use any one of those to say, I don't want you in here. Please understand that, sheriffs, right? So that's where we're coming from. We know what's going on. It's a waste of time for your sergeant to talk to the city because you know what the city is? They're police. They're policy enforcement.
But
you
would want
guys
them to
are
do the
law
right thing, right?
enforcement.
But you would want them to do the right thing, right?
We would want them to do the right thing. We gave them a
So
chance
we
to do
want
the
to
right thing.
iron that out. That's all.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to hang tight, and we'll have somebody come out and talk to you, and we'll get
Thanks.
this sorted out.
All right, we're
okay?
trusting that you're going to iron it out.
Absolutely.
Thank
we're
you,
going to
brother.
do our best because we want the best for you guys. Okay?
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Let's see how the sheriff pulls through. All right, they said they're going to iron it out, so let's see what the sheriffs can do. This is the greatest video on the internet now because now we can see what sheriffs are really all about. First of all, for the record, let me go ahead and read this portion of Governor Ron DeSantis' order. Section 2, businesses in Florida are prohibited from requiring patrons or customers to provide any documentation certifying COVID-19 vaccination or post-transmission recovery to gain access to, entry upon, or service from the business. 241, if 2 or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in the state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or laws of the United States, which includes federal civil rights, which includes the Americans with Disabilities Act. It just goes on to say they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if any death results from these acts, which is the case with Laura's father, these people are culpable and they're subject to not only fines, but imprisonment up to being sentenced to death. 18 U.S. Code. Does it exist for no reason? Is it just a willy-nilly? This doesn't mean anything, or is it a law? Is it a law that means something? Or is it just a useless piece of paper? Whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, which includes the United States Constitution, federal civil rights, and the Americans with Disabilities Act, or they subject them to any form of punishments, pains, or penalties on account of such. Again, it just goes on to say that that person is subject to fines and imprisonment. And if death is part of the problem, if a death is incurred, the people responsible also may be sentenced to death. So these laws are written strongly for a reason. They're not just willy-nilly, let's just write this for the hell of it, are they? I don't think so,
No,
right?
they weren't intended.
You put that on me? Mm-hmm. So I'm just reading quickly. United States Code. You cannot violate people's rights. What we ultimately need is every governor and every attorney general in every state to simply state federal civil rights will be upheld in this state. And that takes care of it. Because based upon federal civil rights, you cannot treat a person disparately. You can't treat them differently. You can't single them out in any way based upon their age, their gender, their race, their religious beliefs and practices, and their disabilities or health condition, which may be mental, psycho-emotional, physical, or genetic. And under privacy laws, they're not required to disclose that information to anybody. You got to take them at their word. Yes, you do. You got to take them at their word. You can't question them because you don't know what their situation is. You have to honor and respect their rights. And that's what the governors and attorney generals should be standing for. And that's what every sheriff in every county and every state should be standing for. That's what I'd be standing for if I was a sheriff. So why shouldn't any other person if they're the sheriff? I'm asking now officially for you to let somebody know that we would like for a message to be sent, whether it's a phone call or a text message or an email now, that there's some people here that have a dire, urgent situation, Sheriff.
And I've already done that, so they're actually on their way.
Thank you, sir.
I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just sit tight, get comfortable, and wait for it.
Thank you, Deputy.
If I understand right, there is a nursing home that didn't allow you access to patients. Is that what it is?
Yeah, what
to my things.
Yeah, what it is I'm here with my friend Laura. Her father was staying in a nursing home, which under law is a place of public accommodation. And under 42 USC, there's what's called a non-discrimination mandate, whereby nobody could be treated any differently than anybody else. Plus, I have the governor's executive order, which stipulates there are no more COVID restrictions in Florida, and no business can hold anybody to a vaccine or any other type of medical protocol. So they're trying to deny her access, which is not only unlawful, but it's actually disgraceful because her father died and his belongings are in that room. And it's utterly pathetic that they would even suggest they'll get some moving facility to come, schlep all of her father's things into boxes. When her father passed away, she'd like to be able to go in and be the first person into that facility to gather her father's belongings, which she has the right to do.
Who'd you talk to at the city of Melbourne?
Well, the city of Melbourne really...
We called the sheriff.
We called the sheriff, and the city of Melbourne came out, and we knew right off the bat we were going to have a problem because they're not law enforcement officers. They're policy enforcers for cities. So we knew there was going to be a problem, and sure enough, there was. He was a real flunky. He didn't. I even handed him the laws, and he didn't even read them. But I have the laws with me. I have the laws with me on 42 USC Federal Code. I've got the Americans with Disabilities Act Federal Code. I've got the governor's order. I've got all the stipulations that clearly show that that place is a place of public accommodation and they cannot violate that law. And I also have U.S. Code 18, which clearly states anybody who does violate your rights under that code is in violation of law and themselves may be held liable to fines and imprisonment. Anybody that violates your rights.
Did you request Melbourne supervisor to talk to?
I did. The officer that was there, he was a flunky. He really was, because we were very respectful with him. We were trying to communicate to him the best we could that, look, we can tell you, we know that when we go in there, that these people are going to say, our policy is you have to have a COVID test or whatever. And the simple fact of the matter is, under law, they cannot do that. They cannot require that. So we said, look, let us go in first. We'll just walk in and we'll go to the room because my friend has the key to her father's room. And sure enough, that officer came walking in about 30 feet behind us, and the lady jumped up from the desk, excuse me. And we were just walking to the room. We were just going to go about our business. And the officer called us back. Hey, stop, guys. Come back here. So, then he's talking. The nurse went into a panic. She called all the supervisors down, and they ordered us to go outside, and the officer ordered us to go outside with her. And she just said, no, you have to take a COVID test. We'll give it to you right now. And we said, under law, we do not have to do that. So they wouldn't follow the law. They would not grant this woman, even forget the law, out of common decency and respect for the woman whose father passed away and his belongings are in there. It's utterly disgraceful.
I'm waiting for a phone call from the sergeant who handles that area. So if you just want to stand by, as soon as he calls me, I'll call you right back. I just want to keep you up to date.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a place of public accommodation that is unlawfully denying her access to her father who passed away's room so that she can retrieve his property.
Okay.
And under the laws which I have,
Hold on, ma'am. I'll talk to you in a second.
and under the laws which I have, they clearly show that she has every right to go in there under law.
Okay. Now, you are related to her how?
I'm a friend.
Okay. So you're not even blood related?
I'm not blood related.
Okay. You're not blood related to her deceased father?
No, but she wants
So-
me to be here.
hold on.
She's
I
asked me to be here.
I understand that,
Right.
but I'm trying to identify who
Okay.
you are
Yeah.
in this. So
Sure.
you're just a friend trying
A
to
good
give her
friend.
legal advice.
A dear friend who's
Yeah.
working to support her because she's under
Trying to give her legal
emotional
advice.
distress. I'm here to give her support and to help her.
Friend.
I was going to help her go through this whole ordeal.
Okay.
I know the law, and that's why I'm assisting her as well.
Okay, all right. All right, and I didn't get your name. What's your
Michael
name?
Van Scoik.
Van Scoy. Can I see your ID, sir?
It's in my car.
Okay.
I can give you my
No, that's fine.
off the top of my
We
head.
can
Yeah.
get that. Those are
Okay.
just formalities. Now, you said that he died and they're denying her access to his personal belongings, okay?
Right.
Okay. Now, your name is?
Laura,
Laura. I'm Deputy Romano. I don't know if you got that. Now, they're denying you access for what reason?
because I won't do a submit to testing and a few other rules similar to that.
Okay, okay. All right. Now, as you once stated, I too know the law. Okay. And I know quite a bit of it.
Okay.
And I'm trying to, in my database, through my training and experience, I'm trying to pull where in this area is it criminal. And I want to need a little bit more. Now, you said you know the law, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, tell me your experiences, how you know the law. Where is it that you feel that the law was violated? Hold on, man.
Yeah, I'm helping.
This
Okay.
is mine.
Okay, tell me, what is it that what information have you gotten that says that the law was broken?
Okay, this is the information that I've gotten to answer your question
Okay.
very succinctly. Okay. First of all, nobody, by way of the United States Constitution, by way of federal civil rights, by way of the Americans with Disabilities Act, Title II and Title III, can be coerced, intimidated, or in any way forced to do something of a medical nature to their body against their will.
All right,
Can't be done.
I'm waiting for where the law was breaking. What was the law broken?
Americans with disabilities.
Americans with
Who's violating?
Well, let me answer the question.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. Okay, I'll read it to you. Okay, 42 U.S. Code 12203B, interference, coercion, or intimidation. Quote, it shall be unlawful to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any individual in the exercise or enjoyment of any right protected under this Chapter 2, Chapter 3 of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which clearly states under law that the facility where her father is a place of public accommodation. The definitions are in the law. Okay. So under 42 USC, there's a very
She's trying to
stringent.
get his personal belongings.
Correct.
Where has the law been violated against her?
To deny her access to that place of public accommodation.
Okay, that's a civil matter, not a criminal matter. That's a civil matter, not a criminal
Right,
matter.
but you as law enforcement officers, law enforcement
Right,
officers,
right. Criminal law.
as law you're sworn to uphold the laws of the land, correct? The United States Constitution?
Yes, we are.
And the laws of the land, federal civil
sir.
rights, right? And you can enforce them because you are law enforcement officers.
Right.
So you do have the authority, the power, and the right to escort this lady over there, and they will listen to you because you are the law. You can say, excuse me, ma'am, under federal civil rights, you cannot mandate this woman to have anything. Her father's belongings are here. She has the key in her hand. She has the right to access this place of public accommodation. I am here to assist her lawfully.
You're absolutely 100% right. You're absolutely 100% right. But under those laws, I open myself up to liability.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. No.
Wait.
Michael, we can go tit for tat and we can go around and
No,
around.
please.
Michael, if I may,
Okay.
Michael, okay? I'm going to explain to you something. I'm not going to go back and forth, okay? Under what you're explaining to me in your situation, and first and foremost, I extend my condolences for your loss, for myself and the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. But I will tell you, under what you're explaining and everything that has happened, we have no jurisdiction.
You do.
We are a criminal entity. I am not going to get, listen to me, ma'am, let me talk. I am not going to involve myself, this agency, with an instant or a situation that is civil in nature. I am not going to do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to go over there and
Federal
listen,
law.
man. It doesn't matter.
You told me that you don't want to subject yourself to liability,
I'm
and
not-
I'm telling you that I have the law that exempts you from liability.
Okay.
And I want to read it for the
Okay.
record.
That's
It
the
says,
civil
"It shall be
matter, Michael.
let me
Michael, at the
read
end
it for
of
the
day,
record.
we can go back
Right.
and forth, but I'm not
You don't
gonna-
even- you don't
I'm
even
not-
wanna hear the law
I
that
don't wanna
exempts
hear the
you
law
from
because
liability.
It's not going to change.
You don't wanna hear the law.
my ability. No, it's not that I want to hear it. It's that I don't care to hear it because it's not going to change what I have to do. And what I have to do is not get myself involved in something that's liable. It's civil matter.
There is no liability. I will,
sorry,
for the
sir.
record,
At
I
this
want to
time,
read
I
it.
would advise you to seek legal counsel and go from there.
Okay,
At the present time, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office and myself are not going to get involved. I'm going over to this individual's, where this individual was at, and demand his stuff. I don't know the liabilities or the reason as to why.
But I'm telling you, I have it. Let me read it for you.
Seek legal
Let
counsel.
me read it to you. All
You
right.
can seek legal counsel.
Okay, but
and it's not going to change my mind.
Well, let me
like
read
that.
it to you. I'd like
I
to
don't
read
wanna
it.
hear
You don't want to
want
hear it.
I don't want to hear
So
it.
you're even saying, as an officer of the law, you don't want to hear the law.
I don't want. No, it's not that. It's just that I already, from what you told me and what I gathered, I'm not going to get myself involved in a civil matter.
What it says is it shall be unlawful to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any individual in the exercise or enjoyment, or on account of his or her having exercised or enjoyed, or on account of his or her having aided, or on account,
And I know
And I
what
res-
they're capable of.
And I respect that, man.
or on account
You would have
of,
to do. You would have to get
or
a
on
lawyer.
account of his or her having aided.
You won't even listen to the
It's-
exemption.
Ma'am, it's
It
not
says,
right.
or on account of his or her having aided,
Ma'am.
having aided her
Ma'am,
in her
I'm sorry, what's
lawful
your first
right.
name again? Okay, that's fine. Ma'am, what you would have to do is I would seek legal counsel and go that route. This way you can.
This
petition-
officer has the right, and he's protected under law.
And they all hang up.
On account of his or her
So
having
we need to
aided
help the
or
people.
encouraged another individual in the exercise of their right. You have the right. You're protected under law. You are the law. Do you understand that the sheriff is the highest authority of law? You do not answer to the governor. You do not answer to a city commissioner. You do not answer to a mayor. You do not answer to anybody. You are the law, and you have the right to enforce law on behalf of the citizens. And that's what we're asking you to do. If you don't want to do it, then we'll ask for your higher up to do it. If they don't want to do it, we'll ask for their higher up to do it. If they don't want to do it, we'll ask for the sheriff to do it. And if the sheriff doesn't want to do it, we'll have it on record that the sheriffs, after all, aren't here to enforce the laws on behalf of the
Sir,
citizens.
this is a simple fix for your situation. And your situation is that you're trying to obtain her deceased father's personal belongings, correct?
Correct.
All you
Which is
have
a
to
simple
do-
matter to do.
all
It's
you
right
have-
down the street.
Well, whatever the rules, see, at the end of the day, that place, whether it be public or private, that place has set rules, policies, regulations. Those are their laws. And I'm not going to go over there and trample all of them because that will open me up.
So you're going to let them trample on the United States
I
laws?
learned on this job that we can, at times, okay, we can sing together, but we
Right.
can't talk together. We can't
Right.
talk
That's
at
true.
the same time.
That's true.
Okay, so when you talk, I'm quiet and I let you express
Well,
what
there-
you want to come out of your mouth, right? So when I talk, I suggest I was
I'm listening.
request the same
Right.
respect.
Right. You
Okay?
cut in while I was talking,
Okay.
but go ahead.
Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that, like I said, they have rules, regulations, and liability policies that they have set. And because of places like that, those policies are set after seeking legal counsel. Okay, we as an enforcement agency are not going to go there and start trampling all over that. No, that's why. Hence, it's a civil matter. We are not going to get involved in civil matter. We at the Brevard County Sheriff's Office are a criminal enforcement entity. All civil matters will be referred to a civil entity. Does that pretty much sums up for me where I come from? There's nothing I can do. I'm not going to go over there
But you're
and
up
demand.
to the Constitution.
Yes, ma'am, in a criminal entity. Yes, we will adhere to the laws of the land, but in respect to the rules, laws, and regulations that put them in place. We're just not going to go home and start ripping stuff up.
What's that? Yeah.
Hey, Sarge, what's up? Hold on a second, let me just get out of here real quick.
Does anyone
What do
here
you,
not
Laura?
know Alan Monroe?
Laura, just for the record, if you can hold this on me. What the officer is saying is clearly cowardly and wrong, because he clearly said, we're not going to trample on their policies, we're going to trample on your rights. We're not going to trample on their policies, we're going to trample on the Constitution. That's exactly what the man just said. We're going to trample on the Americans with Disabilities Act. We're going to trample on your federal civil rights. We're going to trample on the United States Constitution. We're not going to trample on the little policies that are far inferior to those things that this place of public accommodation goes by. That's what he just said. And that's the point that needs to be brought to his supervisor's attention and his supervisor's supervisor, all the way up to the sheriff. And every sheriff in the state needs to know that. And the governor needs to know that. And you can bet the governor's going to see this video. I've sent the governor hundreds of videos over the last year. This one, he's going to be hand delivered.
Hey, Michael.
Because they're being intimidated.
One of my supervisors coming down here to talk to you.
Appreciate
A few minutes
it.
ago.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mention for the record what you told me earlier to them about what the head director said. You're right to go in there. That's your property now.
Oh, I called the state elder abuse ombudsman. Or
So
the-
Repeat that. Who was that?
The state elder, elder care ombudsman, and they're out of Orlando, and they help conversations between families and facilities try to resolve things. They told me that it's important for them and myself to know that once someone passes, their belongings are your belongings, as heirs or next of kin.
You said you live in Miami?
Yes, I live in Miami.
How long you lived down there?
All my life, born and raised. Yep, and several people have, you guys might not believe it with this crazy hairdo, but yeah, several people are pushing for me to be, we're having a sheriff down there in Miami-Dade for the first time in a long time. They have an appointed police chief.
Okay.
And for the first time in I don't know how long, my lifetime, they're going back to having a sheriff.
Are you gonna run?
Absolutely, if I get the opportunity, and I'll set the precedent for every sheriff in Florida and throughout the United States. Because as I indicated earlier, and I'll say it again, if you can record me, with all due respect to
Romano.
Deputy Roman?
Romano.
Roman? Yeah, Deputy Roman, as I indicated earlier, and I'd like to say it again. First of all, you acknowledged that when I said you said, yes, I can do that. You have that right. You have the authority to go down there as law and say, look, you're violating this woman's rights. You can't do that. I'm here to escort her in.
That's
But
not what I said.
you did say that it's on record.
That's not what I said.
And then you said, but I don't want to subject myself to litigation. And you further went on to say that you don't want to trample on their rights. You'll trample on the United States Constitution, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and federal civil rights, but you won't trample on those little policies they have. And that's why, to me, it makes a lot more sense that our sheriffs and deputies and law enforcement officers who are sworn to uphold the United States
That's our sheriff.
Constitution.
He's a good guy, isn't
Yeah.
he? He's awesome, isn't he?
Yeah. And
He sets the president.
there you go. We're going to find out. This is beautiful because today we're going to find out what kind of sheriff the man really is. It's awesome. I mean, this is a beautiful thing. I know. And since, Deputy Roman said he's the best, then you're not going to have a problem today if he's the best. You're going to be escorted by him in to get your property if he's the best. If the sheriff does not, and I don't know what he's going to do, but I'll say any sheriff who would not escort you under law to get your things is a coward and they're lawless. So I fully expect that he's going to take you because he's not a coward and he's a good lawman. That's what we understand. I know my understanding is most of the sheriffs in Florida are great constitutional sheriffs. Do you guys understand your sheriff as being a constitutional sheriff?
Yes, sir.
Right, so now we're going to find out, what that means, a constitutional sheriff, right? Because the people have rights. There are laws in place to protect our rights. We have law enforcement to enforce those rights. And that's all we're here trying to get assistance with.
I'm the South County Supervisor. for
Hey,
Sheriff's
good to meet you.
I did talk to Nancy, the director. She goes, if you have a moving company, they'll let whatever company you want get the stuff, or they can take the stuff to the back and drop it off, and you can pick it up.
Okay, so here's the thing on
I
it.
mean, I talked to Nancy.
So that's her too.
Sergeant, yeah, here's our position on that. First of all, and she's holding herself up well right now. And by the way, Laura is the person, I'm her good friend.
Yeah.
All right, and I just happen to know the law well, and I'm a person who stands for my rights and for my fellow citizens' rights. So I reached out to her in a difficult time after her dad has died, and she does not cover her vital airways.
Okay, well,
She does not,
She
she
doesn't
does,
have to be there though. She can get in.
well, I'm gonna get to that point. It's because it's a significant point. Under law, nobody can be required to do anything medical to themselves, and they're trying to require that.
It's
I'm
not
sorry, let me,
It's not enforceable by us.
wait,
The
please,
governor can
please.
have all his orders, but we can't enforce them necessarily.
You guys uphold law. You uphold federal law. You're sworn to uphold the Constitution and federal law,
It's
correct?
a private company.
No.
They're not a public entity.
With all due respect, with all due respect, sir, and I'm on your side.
Have you thought about doing an emergency injunction?
No, what we've thought about is having the highest authority of law in this county, which is the sheriff, lawfully assist her to go into the room where her dad died. She should have the right, forget the law, out of decency and respect, she should be able to go in and gather her father's belongings. Not have some company.
I'm saying, you understand
Where are
that
they gonna
they
pack
have,
the keys?
they have a
right
responsibility
to
to the
go
other
in and-
residents.
But these
They
are
have a
my
but they
things.
have responsibility not to.
And
That doesn't mean you can trample on the constitutional rights of
Well,
my stuff.
they have the duty to the other residents to make sure that no one gets
I'm
exposed.
happy to go at 10 p.m. I'm happy to come out
Why can't you
at
do?
4
No.
a.m.
They wanted the rapid test, right? Is that what they requested?
That's a medical intervention.
it's a violation of
Well,
our
here's
rights.
here's your two choices. They can deliver the stuff to the back of the property. You can pick it up. You can't
But
go in the
it's not
facility.
about choices, we're
Laura,
talking
Laura,
about-
hold on, let me just.
Yeah.
But you can't go in the facility.
Right. So here's the thing. She has the lawful, I can show you the laws, that she has the lawful right to go into the facility. Because under 42
Not-
USC,
I'm saying they don't want
it's
you
a
in there.
play, well, that's their problem.
In fact, Melvin's here. Nancy wanted you
Right.
Nancy
Well,
wanted you trespass.
Well, police is policy enforcement. They're not law
Well,
enforcement.
their policy
You
is.
guys are law
I'm
enforcement.
saying Melvin's policy is that Nancy doesn't want you on property.
Right, it's irrelevant. They can't say,
Do you have a piece of paper for them to sign?
do they have,
For the trespass?
did they have, did they,
Do you only want trespass on
No.
her?
Well, it's
Ignore-
for both of these. It's not. It's
ignore.
Nancy
Okay.
wanted it.
all right, so
I just can't.
Nancy wanted you to
Sergeant.
trespass.
Sergeant, right, which is a whole other ridiculous conversation to have, right? A trespass, as I'm sure you know, as a law enforcement officer, there's a basis for trespass based on mischief, right? You don't, in other words, you don't go into a store and because I don't like this guy, he's black, tell him to go outside, trespass him.
Well, if
You
you're
can't
if
do
you're
that.
causing disturbance, they can make you leave.
Would you agree that you cannot make somebody, that's right, we're not causing a disturbance.
She said you caused a disturbance.
Well,
No,
the
well-
owner of a private property can trespass anybody for any reason.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
The police officer.
You can't, you
I'm
can.
gonna back inside for something for you guys to tell.
All right,
And you also
We
need
did
to know that it's a
exactly what
place
the
of
police
public
officer told us to
accommodation.
do.
So see, the police officer
We did
has no clue what
exactly
she's
what he
talking
told
about.
us.
No, she's just going off of what Nancy says. Nancy wants you trespass.
Okay, Nancy is nobody. Who's
She's the
Nancy?
director of the facility.
Not in the
Okay,
law.
great. So she does not have the
know the
right,
laws?
Laura.
You have every right.
Let me
to,
just-
You have every right to get
I
an emergency
know-
injunction to get your property.
All right,
Can't you hire a moving company?
what,
we talk about-
Laura, please.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, all right.
A moving company of your choice. They're willing to let them on the property, or they'll drop the property off on the weekend, wherever it's quiet, and you can come to the back of the property and get it.
Okay, this is for the record,
Okay.
because I'm talking with a sergeant now, a deputy under the sheriff in Brevard County in the state of Florida. And I just want to, for the record, give to you the governor's order that states there are no more COVID restrictions in the state of Florida. And at the very bottom, you can see where businesses cannot inflict.
So the cruise ships can't mandate that you have a vaccine card.
Sorry,
No, they
nothing
cannot.
They are doing it.
Well, they can't. They're violating the law.
here, right? No team paper.
No, it's not from here. Just Nancy. All right.
Now, I would like for
These
you.
policies change on a weekly basis.
Well, that's fine. That's the governor's order. But here's the federal law. And if you'll read 42 U.S.
But
Code,
here's the thing, is because, and this is our policy. If you're not satisfied with Melvin's response, then you go to Melvin's sergeant, then lieutenant, and then their chief.
okay, so if you're obviously, yes, you're indicating you're not going to do the right thing.
You
So
have
yeah.
to go through them first.
So we need
And
to
believe
see
me,
your-
when you start going to the lieutenant and
Right,
the chief,
right.
the
Okay.
chief is a political officer.
Right, then we
You
need
may
to
not-
see the lieutenant next? Yeah, okay.
No, not our lieutenant.
Right.
Their sergeant or their lieutenant.
Who's?
Melvin's.
Well, actually, who's above you?
A commander,
Okay.
But he's
the
gonna say
commander.
the same thing. Our policy dictates.
Well,
you
I
have
need
go-
to see that. We need to see the commander.
Well,
Look,
he'll
we're-
tell you the same thing.
Right. Well, we're here.
We need to see him.
Look, we're here. Let me just.
He might be upstairs. Let me get.
There's a lot of different talking going on, and you're right. You're not going to do anything, and
Well,
that's.
no. Here's the thing: is you have to. If you're not happy with
Okay.
city, let's say
Okay.
Melbourne's not going to take a burglary report. Your option is to.
Well, I don't- well, it
'cause
isn't- yeah.
You pay county taxes.
Deputy Roberts, right?
Sergeant.
Without Sergeant Roberts. I'm sorry.
So here's the,
right.
so here's the thing: is you have the right as a citizen of the state of Florida to, if you're not happy with law enforcement from the city of Melbourne, then you call the sergeant calls the lieutenant, and the lieutenant calls the commander, and then the chief. So that's all my commander is going to tell you is you have to go through their chain of command.
Fine. Well, we need to speak to the commander.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Let them do their own paperwork.
10-4. I got you.
Isn't it amazing that the deputies themselves do not want to stand up for the citizens? The deputies do not want to stand up for the law. It's
How does
amazing.
Nancy have any say when she committed a crime denying my father medication? How does she have any say in any of this?
Right.
She's a criminal.
Well, we'll wait for the commander to come down. And just, Laura, do not speak to the Melbourne Police policy enforcement officers.
Yeah.
Do not give them your anything. Don't sign anything. Don't acknowledge them at all, okay? Because we're here with the law, trying to see if the law is going to do the right thing.
Right,
We're not dealing with policy enforcement officers at this time, okay?
right.
Under the Constitution, they're considered police officers, and they have the right to enforce the same laws that we enforce. They are police officers.
That's
Whether
right.
you choose
Right.
to believe that or not, if you commit a crime, they will arrest you, just like I can't arrest you. So you can
Right.
go ahead and say whatever you want to say, they can arrest you.
Right, but the point is, they're by their own admission not sworn to uphold the Constitution. I've asked them. They are by their own admission, they work for a corporation. By their own admission. They don't work for the people, they work for a corporation.
They work for the people.
They don't work for the people. If they worked for the people, they'd be standing up for the people's rights. How you doing, Sergeant?
And they would have arrested Nancy this morning.
We're just,
I told them what she did.
yeah. We're just a little beside ourselves that we can't find deputies and law enforcement officers that want to stand up for the rights of the people. It's like you guys yourselves are submitting to tyrannical government, to unlawful mandates that violate the laws of this land. And you guys are supposed to be upholding it. You're supposed to be taking a stand. Fortunately, there are some around the country that are doing that. They may be far and few between, but there's some doing it. It's becoming apparent that it's all for show, right?
This,
Like even the little television preview. Like look at it. All for show. It's not about standing for the people's rights anymore. It's really disgraceful. Well, hey, at least Brevard County, we don't know for sure yet because, again, so far we're giving the benefit of the doubt that the sheriff here is a true sheriff, right? So when we get up the chain of command, maybe he will do the right thing. If he doesn't, he'll just prove to the nation what Brevard County's about. So that's the man that we're going to see if he's a real sheriff or not today.
So knowing that good stuff happens all around us every day, our agency decided to start a new program, the Good Stuff, so our citizens can enjoy hearing about the great work our team and citizens do every day to save, impact, and change lives. You know, stuff like what happened this past week, and the kindness and compassion of one of our citizens saved the lives of one of our patrol canines, who responded with
All right, so I talked to the commander. He's in a meeting right now. He wants me to take whatever documents you have, copy them, send them to our legal team in Titusville, Lori Moody, and she'll render an opinion via email, and I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
Does that sound?
That's a start. Yep, that's a start.
Card.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I have your phone numbers. Let me have all you have, and I'll make copies of them.
Okay.
I'll forward these to her. She'll review them.
Okay,
see
can you
what her
hold this?
standing is.
Make sure you don't turn it off there.
Right.
All right. So I just want to state for the record while I'm giving it to you here, what I'm handing to Sergeant Roberts is basically just a few words from the governor's executive order about not holding these COVID things against people. I'm providing, and I'm going to read it for the record. I have a disability. I do not, cannot, and will not cover my vital airways, nose, mouth, face, eyes, and head with a face mask, face covering, face shield, or any other obstructing, impeding device, nor will I receive any form of implied medical services against my will. Per medical privacy laws, you have no right to question my disability, and I am not required to disclose or discuss my disability with anyone. If you are asserting that I have a disability and you are offering me any device as an accommodation or mitigation measure under 28 CFR Code of Federal Regulations, Section 36.203, I am not required to accept it. Per 28 CFR Section 36.104, this facility has been classified, designated, and defined by federal law as a, quote, place of public accommodation per 42 U.S.C. Section 12182A and 28 CFR Section 36.201.11 in accordance with federal non-discrimination mandate. I have the legal and lawful right to enter inside of this facility in order to carry on with my business unhindered, unimpeded, and unmolested, receiving the, quote, full and equal enjoyment of the goods, services, facilities, privileges, advantages, or accommodations, unquote, herein. Any violation of my rights will result in legal actions being taken against this facility and against any person engaged in the act of questioning my disability and inability to do the requested medical procedures. Under U.S. Code 122.03b, interference, coercion, or intimidation, quote, it shall be unlawful to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any individual in the exercise or enjoyment of, or on account of his or her having enjoyed their rights under this law, or on account of his or her having been aided by any of these officers of the law, or on account of them having been aided or encouraged by other individuals, such as these law enforcement officers, in the exercise and enjoyment of any right guaranteed and protected by this chapter.
Michael,
So
can I
I'm
interrupt
providing
real
that.
quick?
No.
Michael, and ma'am, what was your name again?
And then what I'm providing
Hang
is
on, Michael.
You
Hang
don't,
on
have
a
to,
second.
you don't have to read them all.
Michael.
this one here shows
Alright, cool.
under law, it shows
Just give me,
that this
I
place,
can't- I don't have time
it
for you to read
defines what a
everything in front
place
of
of
me.
public
All right.
accommodation
What else do you have?
is. So that verifies it's a
Okay.
place. It's not a business where they can do whatever they
What
want
else
to
do you
kick
want
you
me to
out. It's a
fax to our
place of
attorney?
public accommodation. And then everybody here is subject to fines and imprisonment. Everybody in this room for
It's the same
violating,
copy, right?
for not upholding our rights, according to U.S. code.
All right, so I will email this to our attorney,
Okay.
Lori Moody, and she's gonna review it and get back to you. There's my card with the
Okay.
email address. Shoot me your
I'm
email,
going to shoot it to you right now.
and then do me a favor, a quick paragraph, not too long, about
Mhm.
your incident over there.
Sure thing.
All right?
All right.
Thank you very much. I'll be
Appreciate
back
it.
to you tomorrow. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Michael and ma'am, what was your name again?
Come on, Laura, let's go.
Okay, so Laura and Michael, you are not.
We have nothing to say to you. We have nothing to
Okay,
hear
you
from
guys
you.
aren't
We have
allowed
nothing to hear or say whatsoever. We are actually here looking for legal assistance and law enforcement to facilitate us with our lawful rights. And actually, come here with me, Laura. I would like the name of the officers that are here. What is your name
Officer Forsyth,
and your badge number?
4740,
And you work for where? Who?
Melbourne Police Department.
And yours? What is your name? You can't speak?
You wouldn't let us talk to you, sir.
I don't want you to speak to me, but I have the right to ask you for your name and your badge number. What's your badge number? What's your badge number? What is your badge number, Officer Reimer? What's your badge number? I'm asking Officer Reimer for her badge number. She's refusing to provide it. You will answer for your coercion, intimidation, and failure to uphold our rights under law. Yeah,
They're laughing.
they're laughing. Incredible. You just said something. Now I'm asking you. Are you saying she has to start? She has to start a complaint
Start with Melbourne.
with Melbourne. She cannot
And
start
then
a
go
complaint.
down that route.
So you're saying
because if they feel that there's something criminal, then you could talk that route with them, or you can also talk to an attorney. Okay.
So you're saying that she cannot start.
I'm telling you. Okay.
They cannot. She
You
cannot
guys
start.
Have any other things that you need
Yeah,
help with?
I'm asking. I'm just asking. Are you telling me that
That's
she
what I told you.
cannot start a complaint here with the sheriff's
It
office?
doesn't involve us, and it doesn't involve me.
You heard it. You heard it from the man himself. That they want no responsibility. They want no responsibility for the law. They don't want to take any responsibility. It's absolutely pathetic. This is where America has come to. It's disgraceful. Laura, I'm going to send him an email right now, and then we'll see what kind of response we get, and I'll be back in touch with you later.
Okay.
All right. And breathe, relax, and just drive careful, okay?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
And he said he wanted to get some lunch. If you guys want to get lunch somewhere, let me know.
Okay, where did he go? Let's go find him. Go ahead.
Sure. The attorney discussed your situation with the attorney. She goes, "You are correct. You do have legal standing, but where do you go from here?" And she's going to review everything again, and she's going to send me some areas, some organization. Like there's a certain state agency that you file these complaints, and it's an administrative fine against the facility.
Great.
So what I will do, as soon as she sends me her opinion, she's going to send me some phone numbers for you to call, and then.
But how do we get immediate access though? If we're going through an administrative.
Well, hopefully I'll have something. Hopefully I'll have something today. There might be some kind of 1-800 number helpline that you might be able to get a little quicker action. So just do me a favor, shoot me your email.
Yeah.
We're about to.
Yeah. Actually, this is Sergeant Roberts, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sergeant.
Send me your email. Send me a test email.
Yeah.
As soon as she should by the end of the day have a legal opinion about how and who enforces this action. I know there are some administrative fines for violation.
Right.
So she's going to send me all that, and then I'll send it to you, and then you guys can go from there.
All right. Yeah, Sergeant Roberts. We were actually just sitting here, trying to, put together a 2 or 3 paragraph email for you. We were probably going to be done in the next couple of minutes. So I will be sending you an email. We were just trying to highlight everything for you from, like you had asked me to do.
Yeah.
So.
And I will forward the email to our attorney.
Okay. All right. We'll be shooting that out to you in a few minutes, and it'll be coming. I don't know what kind of junk filters you have or anything, but it'll be coming from thebigvirushoax@gmail.com. That's where it'll be coming from.
Let me give you my Gmail account just in case.
Okay, I'll send it there as
That
well.
might not make it.
All right, we'll send it to both.
Try both of them, but that one that you gave me probably won't make it work over.
Okay, and Sergeant, just for the record, we appreciate what you're doing and the approach you're taking. We really hope that this will even facilitate processes taking place where the sheriffs and their great deputies will know that they have the right to step up to the plate and assist people in carrying on with their rights. Especially given.
My kid has to wear a mask to school, and I don't agree with it whatsoever.
No, actually, Sergeant, with all due respect, he does not. If you would stand up for his rights, if you and all the other parents would stand up for his rights, they wouldn't be able to do a damn thing because all the parents.
I tell these parents, I said, you know how you straighten this out is you don't vote for the school board person anymore. That's how you vote them out of office for going along with this mask.
Well, you can actually fire them. You can go in by Robert's rules.
Yeah, they are literally they're not only violating your rights, they're forcing harm on your child.
They just extended another 30 days.
Right. So if the parents see, unfortunately, a lot of parents not only don't know the law, but they're insecure and they're afraid and they don't know what to do. If people would just get the gall to stand up for their dignity and their rights and say, you're not doing that to my kid, and my child does have a right to an education, and if I got to sit here with them, or if I got to send a deputy to sit in here with them, these kids are going to get an education and you're not going to force a mask on them. That's what the people need to do.
There were people at the school board meeting that expressed that, so hopefully that will catch on.
Well, you're going to have my information, so you can feel free to call me anytime to be present at any kind of school meetings you'll have, and I'll be calm and cool and respectful, but I'll lay it out on him as well. I'll be more than happy to drive back up here.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Send me those emails, and then I'll hopefully have something today, some resource for you today.
Okay, for the record, real quick, here's the email that we sent out to Sergeant Roberts with the Brevard County Sheriff's Department. To Sheriff Ivey and his legal team, under the laws of the United States of America, which includes federal and state constitutions, federal civil rights, and the Americans with Disabilities Act, no man or woman can be required to submit to any form of medical treatment or intervention without their informed consent. Furthermore, they have the lawful right to enter into any place of public accommodation unhindered, unimpeded, unmolested, and without duress, intimidation, or harassment being put upon them. Laura Canali Bulgarelli was unlawfully denied access into a place of public accommodation when she attempted to retrieve her property that formerly belonged to her father, who recently passed away. She has the lawful right to enter into Century Oaks Assisted Living Facility located at 4001 Stack Boulevard, Melbourne, Florida, because it is a place of public accommodation under federal law. She went to the Brevard County Sheriff's Office to obtain assistance in entering this facility to retrieve her property. The Melbourne Police Department and Brevard County Sheriff's deputies, both of whom Laura reached out to for assistance, are ignorant of the law and are afraid of personal liability. They are afraid to enforce the law by assisting Laura with exercising her rights based upon their personal insecurities and fear concerning liability. There is no liability, as they are protected by the law when assisting others with their rights. Please see the documents that we left with Sergeant Kevin Roberts, which includes the Americans with Disabilities Act Title III, definitions of places of public accommodation, 42 U.S. Code, 28 CFR, and 18 U.S. Code. Urgent note, on Saturday, July 24th, 2021, when Laura's father, David Canali, returned to his assisted living facility after a surgical procedure, he was stopped at the front entrance and required to take a rapid PCR test. The test, which has been proven to be unreliable and non-diagnostic, rendered a result of positive, at which time David was denied access back into his apartment. Laura, who had just dropped him off, was contacted and returned to find her father being assessed by paramedics at the front door. The paramedics told Laura that her father, David, was just fine, being forced against their will to leave the facility. Immediately, Laura asked her dad if he had his heart medication with him. He did not. Laura asked the attendants and director to let her and her father back inside into his apartment to get his heart medication and other meds. They refused to let Laura and her father back inside to retrieve his critical medications. The staff also refused to go get the critical medications for Laura and her father. A few days later, David's father, David Canali, experienced heart complications for which he was admitted into the hospital. He passed away on August 6, 2021. Now I'm going to read, to my utter dismay and disgust, the reply that Sergeant Roberts sent back yesterday that I saw when I got home last night. This is the response I received from our legal department. Thanks. Good afternoon, Sergeant Roberts. Upon review of the attached material and pursuant to our conversation, there is no criminal statute over which BCSO would have jurisdiction to investigate. Importantly, Florida statute section 381 provides that the prohibition on requiring COVID-19 vaccination or recovery certification information does not apply to healthcare provider as defined in 768. So depending on the nature of the facility, they may not be doing anything contrary to law. However, if there are any potential remedies for the complainant, they would lie at the state and or federal level as follows. So let me just comment on that. First of all, there absolutely is, because we're talking about a place of public accommodation. In fact, I'll read the letter I wrote in response to this here shortly. 1, they can file a complaint pursuant to the governor's executive order and related statutes. It is the Florida Department of Health that has jurisdiction over those complaints. Here is the reporting information. Contact them here. If you wish to file a complaint against a licensed healthcare facility regulated by the Agency for Healthcare Administration, please contact us here. 2, to file a complaint regarding a federal civil rights violation, it is the Attorney General that investigates alleged violations of 42 U.S. Code Section 12182, and complainant can file their report here. So they just give the runaround bullshit because they don't want to take responsibility for enforcing laws, even though they're swore to uphold the laws of this land. So their legal department is a completely incompetent. Let me just go ahead and read my reply to their email. So here's how I replied to that email. I said, "Hi, Sergeant Roberts. Is the person who wrote this confused or incompetent, or are they just trying to pass the buck? Why are they referencing medical facilities and state statutes that apply to them? Totally off subject. Our issue and concern is clearly the lawful right of people to enter inside of places of public accommodation unimpeded, unmolested, and without interference and discrimination in accordance with the laws we provided. There is no need for any interpretation of these laws. It is your responsibility to uphold and enforce the laws and rights of we the people. Why is this person who wrote the email you forwarded to me endeavoring to alleviate you and your deputies of your constitutional power, authority, and duty? Is he or she a communist infiltrator, perhaps? Maybe they need to be investigated too. This person needs to be replaced with a more competent individual who is their supervisor. P.S. When I am finished editing all the video footage I took today, I will be forwarding it to every sheriff within the state of Florida and to the Florida governor and attorney general. The video footage will speak volumes concerning today's clown show of Melbourne police officers and Brevard County sheriff's deputies who refused to uphold the rights of we the people under law. Perhaps when that video gains national recognition, which it certainly will, other competent people and agencies will step in to straighten out the failures of the two law enforcement agencies in Brevard County and Melbourne and their incompetent legal team too. Thank you.